Hey everyone, it's Michael from Notefolds, and today I'm going to show you how to make this hidden door card. I made this one for Mother's Day. So they open it up and it looks like a normal card on the inside, except for these two little tabs that say pull. And so when the recipient pulls it, opens it up to this hidden part of the card, hidden door, and you can see I stamped a sentiment in there, and then I have plenty of room to write a nice personal message. And then when they're done, they just pull it back and the message is hidden away. Very cool card to make and actually pretty easy to make, so let's go ahead and get started. To start making this card, we're going to use a 5" by 8" base piece, and then we're going to score it at 2 inches, at 4 inches, and at 6 inches. The center part here is going to be where the hidden door is, and I've cut out 4 strips of paper, and you can see they all match, and these are 5 inches by 2 inches wide. And I'm going to take 2 of them, and what I'll end up doing is I'm going to tape them down here, and then what you'll notice about these strips, these are going to be the ones that are woven in, and they're actually double-sided, and it's very important that you have double-sided paper because you will see both sides of it. So I'm just going to take this paper and tape runner on one side of it. And this side you won't end up seeing, of course, since it's going to be taped down. So this part doesn't really matter if it's double-sided, but since I want all the paper to match up when the card opens, I'm using double-sided paper. And we'll just line this up on the inside in between the score lines. Okay, and then we'll get our other piece and tape that down. And again, we'll just put it right in between the score lines, making sure that we're not overlapping the score lines because we still do want this card to be able to open. So now let's take the card and fold it in half on that center score line, which is at 6 inches. We're going to bring our scoreboard back into the mix, and we're going to put it up in the upper edge there, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4 inch, and now we're only going to go down to this score line, so we're not going to extend past that. So 1 1/4 inch, and then we're going to go to 2 1/2 inches, and again we're just going to go down to that next score line, and finally we're going to score it at 3 3/4 inch. What we'll do now is we're going to cut on those score lines, and we're just going to cut down to this. So we're going to be cutting these 3 score lines. And you want to use a good pair of scissors because there are multiple layers of paper here. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to cut through. So you want a good sharp pair of scissors. And again, we don't want to go beyond that score line. So you might have to come back later with maybe some detail scissors to get it right up to that score line. Or you could use a different method of cutting if you prefer. Okay, we'll do our last one here. We're going to take the other 2 by 5" strips of paper that match the ones we just glued down and cut. We'll turn them over so that we have that other side of the design. And then we're going to, of course, make sure our design matches up. And then we're going to weave them through on each side. So this one I'll put over and then under, and then over and then under. Okay, and let's do the same on the other side, but we're going to just do it backwards. First we're going to go under and then over, and then under, maybe, there we go. You will find that it's a tight fit, and then under here, and then finally over. Okay, so there we have it. Now when the card is opened, what you'll see is that on the inside, this all lines up. So you've got a nice place to stamp a sentiment, write a nice message. Now what I like to do that's a little bit different is I like to take a couple strips of paper, and these are just a 1/2 inch by about 2.5 inches. And what I'm going to do is tape them down to not the woven piece. So this is the strip here, you can see that's the thinner part. I'm going to attach it to the thicker part. And this will give the person something to kind of grab onto so they realize to pull it apart, because not everyone is so familiar with these cards, especially if you're giving it for the first time. So we'll just put that in there. And then we'll take the other one. Just give it a little bit of tape, and we'll put that on the other side. So now when it's closed, you can see they've got these nice little strips here, and if they just pull on them, there you go. The hidden door pops open. On the outside of this card, I'm going to take a couple of other strips of paper. Now this is one design that's together, and then I cut it in half. So this was originally 5 by 4 inches, and then I just cut it in half at 2 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and tape that down to the outside of the card. And this one we'll want to make sure that we get right up to all of the edges, so that way the design lines up nicely on the outside. Okay, and let's tape this one down now. Again, make sure our design is correctly lined up, and then that we're putting the paper lined up with all of the edges. Okay, so there's the outside of the card, and then they open it up and have this. We're still missing a little bit of something there, so I've got a couple other pieces of paper here, and these again were cut from one piece that was 5 by 4, cut in half at 2 inches. So let's tape those on the side. And you can see this is double-sided paper. You don't necessarily have to use double-sided paper for this since they won't see it, but I really like the design of this. So just get that lined up to the edges. Make sure we don't go over. Okay, let's do the other side. And again, right up to the edge. So there we go. Close up the card. This is how they'll receive it. They open it up. See the couple of pull tabs here. Pull those open, and look at that. They have the inside of the card, and here's where you can do all of your decorating and sentiments and all of that. Well, I hope you enjoyed making this hidden door card, and I'd love to see what you come up with, so post it in the comments below if you do.